Thank you, Lord, for the care you have taken upon our lives. Thank you for this training. We commit it unto you. We pray for your spirit to guide us and help us understand what we are going to be learning and further implement it. Bless our facilitators and organizers. Bless us all. We pray this through Christ our Lord. Amen. In the name of Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. I would like to once again take this opportunity to welcome each and every one of you to this session. I've not interacted with the majority of you yet, but my name is Daisy Habi. I'm the project lead for Generation Earthshot, and I'm pleased to be your host for the day today. My camera is not so clear, so please bear with me. I would like for two of us to introduce themselves. With us today is Kiminja, our managing director, Mr. Lawrence, and Mr. Felix, who is the head at STEAMLabs Kenya. So Lawrence, I'll give you a few minutes to introduce yourself and maybe just say hi to our educators today.
Okay, I will only take 1 minute. Thank you, Daisy, and Philomena. Thank you, Philomena, for commencing the meeting for us with the word of prayer. And thank you, everyone, for joining this great meeting. Now, as you have heard, my name is Lawrence Kiminja, and I am the Managing Director at STEAMLabs Africa. We work together with Daisy and Mr. Felix Malombe, and Jeff, I think, is here, yes. What Daisy forgot to mention is that STEAMLabs Africa is the frontier for the Generation Earthshot project here in Kenya. And we are going to be working with you and many other teachers across this country towards utilizing resources that have been availed to us by the world's largest lesson, so that we can achieve some certain environmental obligations. So thank you. I'm looking forward to having a great time in this meeting and in subsequent meetings. Hopefully we will interact more along the way. Asante Sanna. God bless you.
Daisy, confirm you can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining this meeting. This is a meeting that is supposed to be attended by educators from across the region, that is in the eastern region, all the way up to the northern part of the country. We know sometimes there are challenges, and we want to appreciate that the fact that you're here and you've appointed such a moment as this to be found in such a wonderful session. We are told by Lord Jim Knight that right now, the world doesn't just need its next great leaders. It needs its next great change makers. And we are told a few things that I would just want to mention about. One, that the planet is facing an unprecedented climate and ecological crisis. As governments, businesses, and individuals take decisive action of the necessary scale and speed, schools and education, as you know, will need to swiftly follow suit to prepare our young people with the skills, knowledge, and agency, or agency, the one they need so that they can actually thrive in this changing world. We take inspiration from the UN Sustainable Development Goals, which were developed or launched in the year 2015, September 6th at exactly 10 p.m. in the New York time at that specific day. The UN Sustainable Development Goals seek to address two sustainability concerns, three rather. One, it is the economic. Two, they seek to address the concern around the social well-being of the people of the planet Earth. And three, they are targeting what we call the economical or environmental sustainability. The focus of this challenge, which we call the Sustainable Development Goals, the sustainability challenge is to actually think about where we live today. There is no other planet where there is life. They keep talking about Mars and others. They are still trying to achieve, try to explore and find out what is happening. But life as we know it is that we live on planet Earth. And one generation ushers the other one to the next concerns that face the world. Whether we're talking about deforestation, whether we're talking about crime, when we're talking about human labor, among other things, we always have to think about these things. Most of us, and I realize we started by a prayer, are believers of God, whether from this religion or the other. And the fact is that we are all called to take care of our ecosystems, our systems, our ecological environments, our land and other places, other things, as we continue to speak about today, is the fact that you and I have been called and given a specific task as human beings to take care of the other animals, to take care of our environment, and take care of everything that we see in our environment. I want to take this opportunity to applaud the greatest people on the planet, who are the teachers. Goal number 17 focuses on what we call partnership for the goals. We know we are aging. Our young people amongst us here will tell you that we are still young. Yes, we are still young. But as we mentor and work with the children that are in our classes today, we are sure that whether we like it, the children that are in our classes today, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years from now, will be the people who are going to take charge of the world and will be mentors of others. So if we are the people who are the most important in our community today, apart from the parents, of course, all of us probably are parents, we have to take specific initiatives to ensure that we hand over the world to the right people. So how shall we do that? The children that we are having in our classrooms today are the people who are going to deal with the pollution that we are causing. Are the people who are going to suffer because of the land that we have failed to plant trees, among other things. The children that are in our classes today are going to matriculate in the year 2030 and 2035. And in that space, they will be working in organizations, companies that are trying to tackle concerns around poverty, decent work and economic growth, in reduced inequalities, things to do with gender equality, quality education, maybe what is so closely related to us. And as they do that, they will require specific, guidance. Who is the person who is going to going to save our planet? Who is the person who is going to save our next generation? Because if we mess up a generation that we have, the society that we're having today, not in terms of social, but environmentally, then we have nothing to hand over. We have no chambers to leave to our children. It is for this reason that the Generation Earthshot was established. Initially, it was called the Earthshot Prize, whereby an organization in the next 10 years who is going to be involved in coming up with solutions that are using technology, using art, using science, using farming and agriculture, who is going to work towards solving the problems around environmental concerns of the world, climate change, air pollution, call it waste. The people who are doing mining, wastelands and other things, as the teachers of geography will tell us. Anybody, an organization that is working on that, let's call it Philomena, an organization called Kiminja, an organization called Captain, an organization called Regina. All these organizations, all these people are going to be awarded 1 million, actually it's 5 million. 5 million GBP, that is British pounds, which is around 150 shillings in Kenya. So we are talking about 150 million per a person for the ones who are going to win 100 for an organization. 2 days ago, on 17th of October, the first Earthshot Prize was won by countries like the government of Costa Rica, the Ministry of Environment. They actually have been trying to plant trees for their nations and trying to protect the economic, survival of their people. China and the way they are making special kinds of energy. So they won various prizes, each one of them winning 1 million GBP, which is 150 million Kenyan shillings. But now we cannot focus on the generation like you and me because our time has passed. Most of us, we are past 21 years. So it means we need to look at the generation that will come. No wonder we call it Generation Earthshot. So Largest Lesson is an organization in the UK which works on curriculum about sustainability. They work on teaching students about global goals, the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. They also bring in the aspect of Africa Agenda 2063, which is the project by AU in the African Union. And they try to ensure that people understand what peace means for the world, what agriculture, which is the backbone of our community, of our country, and we don't teach it in primary school, what it is, what we need to do about it, what we need to do so that our generation is safe. And teachers play a big role in this specific area. Students are crucial if we are going to make better the world that we're looking at. We are not just speaking like Britons and the people from the US. We are saying in Kenya, let's look at Kenya specifically. We are saying drought. President Kenyatta declared drought as a national disaster. In Ukambani specifically, you will know that most of the places rain after 3 years. I know a place called Mutomo where I grew up with some students. I know a place like towards Garissa in Mwingi North or South. I can't remember exactly where it is. The drought has, impoverished people. It has messed up. Cows are dying. Goats do not have water, do not have vegetation. The former minister for devolution, I think Wamalwa, would send water to be taken there. But it's not enough to give water. You need vegetation. You cannot pour water on the ground so that you can develop that. That is the effects of climate change. We have concerns around the locusts, the attack on the locusts, and the Luya people wanted them to go to their place, so that they can dine on them. But the thing is, it's a very serious thing. Those animals are coming from Somalia, other regions which are dry, trying to look for water and vegetation because of what is happening in our country. We have Budalangi and other regions of the world where flash floods are going to be witnessed in the next few days as the rain starts. What can we do? What can we tell our children in our schools? Are we doing what we are learning in primary schools, planting trees in our primary schools? Are we doing that in our classes? Are we talking to children about that? What about just doing artwork now in primary schools for those teachers teaching, creativity, through art and other subjects which are in the CBC? In secondary, when you're teaching chemistry, is it enough to just draw sodium carbonate? It's called NaCO3, we used to call it. Is it enough to do that? Is it possible to relate what you're teaching to the environment? When you're talking about biomass, what really happens? Can we do that in our school and set up a project? This is why the Generation Earthshot was developed. It is a call for teachers to use something called design thinking, which you are going to be seeing, where you start with the problem in your locality, use ideas, you have worksheets to use for that, and then you come up with a small project in your community with your children. And then with that, you can actually tell the world what you are doing, and we'll be guiding you on that. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining this meeting. And I can't wait to see what our trainer will take us through. I wish you all the best. My name is Felix Malombe, working at STEAMLabs to guide and work with us. Thank you. Back to you, Daisy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Felix. That was a very insightful summary. I feel moved to create environmental solutions myself, and I'm hoping that as we work with the teachers, we'll be able to actually create sustainable solutions for the future generations. So thank you so much for the good work that you continue to do. Our educators, once again, thank you so much for joining the call today. I can't say that enough. And I'm hoping that the session today will be fruitful to you. And at the end of it, you'll be able to share whether your expectations were met. We'll basically get to receive feedback from you. Okay. So without further ado, we are going to start. Jeff, kindly, if you can hear me, kindly unmute. Maybe say hi as you prepare to share your slides for the training session today.
So my name is Jeff Kirao, and I'm a content developer here at STEAMLabs. I'll be a facilitator for this session today. And in this session, we're going to be learning how to guide young people to innovate and to come up with solutions to these climate challenges that we face. So thank you all for coming, and I look forward to this session. Over to you, Daisy.
Great. So a lot has been said about the Generation Earthshot project. And just to provide a brief summary, the whole idea is that today's workshop is going to be a design thinking workshop, where at the end of it, the expectation is that you will be able to teach your students or your learners how to creatively solve problems. At the end of it, design thinking really emphasizes on thinking without the box, thinking beyond the box. In design thinking, all the crazy ideas are welcomed. So this is just to say that even as you go through it, allow yourself to think without the box, allow yourself to just say whatever comes to mind, because this is going to be a very interactive session. We are going to call upon you to share what you think is or what is not. And I'm hoping that we will get to interact and have a meaningful conversation by the end of the night. So please proceed and share your screen, Jeff. Thank you much for this. So ideally, this project is in partnership with Generation Earthshot, the world's largest, and STEAMLabs Africa is going to deliver the project to Africa. And for design thinking, it's divided into 3 stages. So one, we have the problem stage, and then we have the ideation stage, and finally, we have the solution stage. And hopefully, we'll be able to look through each and every one of the stages tonight.
And the first stage will be the problem stage. And this is where you'll help the learners to understand Earthshot from a global perspective, and also to connect with Earthshot from a local perspective. Now, these Earthshots are these problems that are these challenges that we're trying to solve. Like, for example, revive the climate, clean our air, build a waste-free environment. In this stage, you're going to help the learners to generate a problem statement for a problem that they understand and they care about. Also, you introduce one of the 5 Earthshots and ask the students to come up with a local problem that they can solve together. Like, for example, can you give me like an example of a problem that is in our communities? Anyone?
Deforestation.
Yes, deforestation. That's one problem. Another person?
Water shortage.
Yes, water shortage. Water shortage, or another one, problem of waste disposal. So yeah, problems like those. And then now you can ask the students to, once they pick the Earthshot, can break down the problems. They give the examples and they see how it affects them in the community. Then the problem should be something that the students, they understand, they feel passionate about, so that they can come up with the right ideas. So they should be asking this questions like, what is the problem? Where is the problem occurring? And who it is affecting? And so these are the Earthshots. Revive our ocean, clean our air, fix our climate, and build a waste-free world. Because our oceans face problems like pollution, warmer water, acidity, overfishing, and then, and protect and restore nature. So the idea stage, and this is where they're going to, after they pick an Earthshot, like for example, can we pick one Earthshot that we're going to be running around so that run with, so that we give examples. Does anyone have an example? Which one should we go with? Okay, so the Earthshots are revive our oceans from problems like pollution, warmer water, acidity, and overfishing, and then protect and restore nature, which is facing problems like poaching, deforestation, and destruction of lakes and other water sources, and forest fires. Like these past years, there's been a lot of forest fires. Clean our air from which is affected by things like industrial pollution, transport pollution, and fossil fuels. Fix our climate. Things like melting ice, raising sea levels, extreme weather, and build a waste-free world. So which Earthshot should
I
be
would go with
something?
building a waste-free world.
Yes, yes. Okay, so building a waste-free world. Okay, so after you pick an Earthshot, you should come up with many ideas as quickly as possible. In this stage, you should encourage the learners to ask questions and to work into small groups. And they should also record all the ideas. And also you should be encouraging them. Sorry?
Say that.
Sorry?
Just continue. It's just
Okay.
I think Philomena is trying to. Philomena, did you want to say something? Because your hand was up for a while. I think Jeff did not see that because of the work that he's doing.
No, I thought okay. To me, I was thinking of shot 2.
Protect and restore nature.
Yes.
Aha. Okay. So yeah, Mr. Jeff, you can continue now. Thank you. And pick that
so
one.
Okay, like for example, what ideas can you come up with for protecting and restoring nature and for building a waste-free world? Maybe
Like
for example, avoiding plastics.
Yeah, exactly what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
Mm.
That one will be for building a waste-free environment.
Exactly.
And in protecting and serving nature, maybe educating people about not poaching, things like that. Anyone else? Planting trees.
Maybe I can say something, Mr. Jeff. You know, the way these 5 areas are divided, they are made, you know, normally, I think you guys, we are very sure that we've been called university graduates at one point, and it's because we have, you know, grown and then taught in the way that we learn how to cram. And so when we ask this question, when these questions are asked to us, sometimes we are like, what is he talking about? Why can't he just talk about it and finish? But what I find very nicely is that he's actually asking us questions. And Jeff, thank you very much. When I grow up, I want to be like you. Well, maybe to say something about these problems. There are problems that we know. And they are, you know, instead of, you know, the way we're given a blanket statement, revive oceans or revive lakes like Victoria, you know, we know the problem of Lake Victoria with hyacinth. You know, he's trying to say, what can we do about the hyacinth that is growing and making it the water acidic, even to causing the fish to die? Overfishing, we know Migingo Island, you know, trying to, if your child is in Migingo, for example, they will focus on overfishing. And, you know, they will not talk about oceans, but they will say revive our lakes. How can we manage that while sustaining? If it's Hassan from Wajir, for example, Hassan, hi, I hope you are well. You know, I will be looking at as concern like, you know, deforestation. People are cutting trees which do not even exist in Wajir. You know, if I am in Kibra, you know, in Nairobi, or if I'm in, you know, in East Lando, I'll be looking at use of plastics. How many people use straws to take water? And those straws are dangerous if they are allowed, because you know plastics decay after a very long time. If they go all the way to Mombasa and the turtle is just swimming and it finds its nose and it doesn't have hands. Okay, it has hands, but the hands are not effective as humans to remove that straw that is sticking in its nose. A metal that is thrown anywhere without having to recycle it. Looking at these concerns and saying, children, where are we? Some of them are brought to school by school bus, the day scholars. Some of them walk. What are sustainable ways that we can use? Instead of maybe, where I came from, we used to run to school, we used to walk to school, and we always got late. All the time I was late, guys. The one thing that I was beaten for in schools was the thing about being late in school. But I'm talking about getting to school using transport. Most of the children in Nairobi and in Machakos and in Kisumu City and in Mombasa, in this place, what is this place? Garissa, the ones that are picked at home every morning, they are using school buses. If children are in the same locality, why can't we just do carpooling, for example, and use that, one car? Because we are reducing the fossil fuels, the petrol that we are using. Not because we are not rich. We don't want to show that we are not rich, but we are saying we are careful about our environment. Transport, cleaning our air, that vroom, that is being released in the environment. The children wants to see such things. So with the Generation Earthshot, what it has done, it has grouped the 5 challenges that we can start with, and then it has actually gone down there and enumerated the specific concerns that you can actually get your students started with. Mr. Morris, for example, who teaches in secondary, and he teaches chlorophyll. Is it chlorophyll? He teaches, let me pick this one rightly. He teaches photosynthesis. My teacher used to call it. And he teaches photosynthesis in the chemical aspect, the chemistry of photosynthesis. He wants to actually bring in the aspects of these concerns around how photosynthesis can be. I don't know what to say there, but I know Morris will actually be able to pick up a topic from this and relate with that. Industrial pollution, Nairobi River, if you're living next to Nairobi River, but if you're living in Machakos River, if there is one, you can actually pick that and tell children you have at the river, by the way, let me use that. That industry next to the river, the Baburi cement, is actually messing our environment. What can the children do? Okay, this is the picking the problem. But when you come to the ideas, you can actually put placards saying, Bamburi, stop polluting our water. That is an idea. That's a child initiative that they can actually do. So this is what we are actually calling our students. It could be in mathematics. It could be when you are teaching algebra. It could be when you are teaching nouns or ngeli ya kiwa, in Kiswahili, and just asking a question, mazigara yetu yakoje, and relating these concerns. So it is just a way for us to think together about the environment we are living in today. Locusts. If you talk about locusts in in Northeastern, they don't even want to see you talking about them because they have actually messed up the environment. And towards the eastern part of Ukambani region, they don't want to hear you talking about that because that is a menace that actually has messed up their environment and their livelihood. So Jeff, thank you very much. For me, let me tell you, based on where I come from, I'm going to pick on tree planting because I come from the land of the hills in Ukambani. So I don't want people to cut trees in the name of creating a shamba. I want us to plant maembe, we plant ndengu, we plant melon in the same land and plant trees also. That's what I would say for my students if I am to teach next week. Not tomorrow, sorry. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Felix, for breaking down the problems for us. So yeah, as Felix was saying, see, it's problems like like deforestation. They have such big effects on the environment. They bring drought, they cause a huge water shortage, things like that. Can anyone tell me like other effects of deforestation? Yeah, trees also clean our air. So when we cut them down, it also affects the air quality. Another effect of deforestation
I would say that it will also reduce the habitat for some animals, because trees
yes,
provide homes for some animals like birds.
yes. It's a resource. It provides food and
Some
shelter
shelter.
for these birds. Yes.
Exactly.
Then these birds and these other animals, they provide also sustenance for other animals, which we also rely on. It's like a circle. And like now when this circle is broken at some place, it disrupts the natural environment. Yes. Anyone else?
Jeff, there is Tito and Rachel.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Hello.
Yeah.
Can you
Hi.
hear me?
Yes, yes, Tito,
Yes.
can hear you.
Okay, as for me, you find that this aspect of deforestation destroys the natural environment, whereby, you know, in the field of medicine, we find that there are some herbal medicine that are extracted from those natural herbs, and the moment they are destroyed, we find that we will not be able to quench our health purposes, whereby some other diseases are treated effectively when you are using the herbal medicine.
Yes, that's a good one. And also, when you want to speak, just speak as long as no one else is speaking, because I'm not looking at this screen for Teams, so I can't see when you raise your hands.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Rachel? I think there is someone trying to say something, Jeff, there. Is it Philomena? Philomena, are you trying to say something about deforestation?
Yes, can you hear me?
Clearly.
Yes, we can hear you, Philomena.
Okay. On deforestation, we can encourage encourage people to plant as many trees as possible, so that when someone wants firewood, you can actually, we call it, is it trimming? Just instead of cutting the whole tree, you just get the branches and the tree continues. So you plant as many as possible, because I believe that it is possible. And actually, I'm in Kitui, and Kitui trees can grow. Trees do not even need clean water. Soapy water can also make trees grow. So what is there is to encourage the learners that even that water which they use to wash their clothes can be used to water trees, and the trees will do very well. My point.
Yes, that's a good point.
Can I add something?
Yes, Philomena.
For the electronic waste, in partnership with, I think Safaricom are doing something to do with the electronic waste. The children can also be guided, especially when they go home, on how to dispose the electronic waste. If there are some centers set by Safaricom where electronic waste is being collected, then they can talk to their parents, either take the waste there personally, or through their parents, the waste can be taken there. So that way, we would have also get rid of electronic waste from the environment.
Yeah, that's a good one. People normally don't think about electronic waste, but these devices we use, they are not biodegradable, and they are also usually don't last very long. If a device stays for 5 years, that's a long time. It's like forever in technology. So periodically we have to throw them away. And yes, so e-waste is a big problem. These are all very good ideas.
Jeff,
Yes,
do you know what I realized? Guys, have you ever realized that the people, when computers get old in the US, they try to sell them to us as a cheaper price? they actually, Augustus, you remember that when the computer that you're using is probably a second-hand computer. It's not a computer. They call it XUK. They actually sell it to you, and then you have to use it, and you feel nice. You're using a nice laptop. But the thing is, they just dumped that thing on us. How can we manage this? How can we get out? By the way, our children are the best when it comes to ideas. They can actually tell you even how to ban, a TV, the one which ilikuwa na mgongo. They can even tell you how to do it. I don't know. They're imaginative. So when we engage them, they actually are able to pick up these ideas, like Philomena. I wonder if Philomena is in year 6, because she sounds very, very engaging when it comes to this. And this is what you're going to be doing with the children. Thank you.
Okay, so yes, the idea stage. We have outlined some problems. So now let's come up with some ideas to try and solve those problems. Okay, maybe I'll start. Like, for example, the problem of overfishing. This is when sometimes we fish too much than the waters can replenish naturally. So what are some solutions that we can use to avoid this? Does anyone have an idea?
Yes.
Yes, there's an idea.
Yes.
Tito, you can go.
Yeah, okay. I think with the problem of overfishing, the main issue is about conducting civic education, because the moment you impart such a knowledge to a learner, the learner will be able to know the negative impacts that are being brought about by overfishing. Apart from that, we need also to indicate a timeline. For example, let's say it is within a whole year, from the month of January to December. Let's say if the fishing season is supposed to be from January to March, let it be done within that particular period. And then the remaining part of the year, we give it time so that the fish can also breed out, so that we may not have that issue of overfishing, whereby we'll come up and the moment we go to the rivers or the lakes, we are unable to get the required quantity of fish to be gotten from it. Thank you.
Yes. So we fish in season so that you can give the fish stocks time to replenish.
Yes, I also tend to think that sometimes this overfishing is brought about by the demand in the market. So the demand in the market, you find that the market would not know the downtimes, especially for the stock. When we start now regulating, the market would not come to a point where by they are getting to know that this is a downtime for the stock. So I think that one can be substantiated. We get another replacement, like having some farmers now also doing the fish farming, so that in those times when we are not in the lake, then the farmers that time can be the people who are supplying the fish now in the market. That way, the market, the supply for the fish would be throughout the year, but from different sources.
Diversification there, and hey, wow, thank you. I wish you guys are in my class. I can I can put out your ideas on our walls. Thank you, Philomena.
Okay. Whatever I wanted to say has been said. The issue of fish farming, that is diversification.
Awesome.
Can you hear me? Yes.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Jeff, back to you.
Okay. So that was for overfishing. So someone can name another problem and some solutions for it. Anyone else? This time I won't give an example. I won't specify.
Jeff, just to ask, so we have identified a problem. We have identified some solutions or some ideas. What was the next stage?
Oh yes. So so the next stage, so generating the big ideas.
Your screen is still on the ideas. Okay. Different perspectives there. Yeah.
It is to, when you're generating ideas, you imagine yourself in different perspectives. Like, for example, if you're a mechanic or a dancer or a teacher, what skills would you use to solve those problems? You think beyond the obvious answers. Or random links. Just think of things randomly. Then you just brainstorm. When you go like this with this process, you can surprise yourself and you find that you've come up with a solution. And the next one is ask yourself how. You start with a solution to your problem. How could you solve it? It could be any way you can think of. And it doesn't even have to be realistic or even possible. Yeah, that's why it's called Earthshot, coming from moonshot, which was the goal for landing man on the moon, which was a goal that seemed impossible. But in the end, the scientists were able to achieve it. So it is like that. Even if it doesn't seem realistic, it can be a good idea. And then the last part in this idea stage, you flip it. You ask yourself, what if you wanted to make more of the problem? What will you do? You say maybe this water is too clean. What if I wanted this water to be dirtier, to be more unclean? What if I wanted there to be no more trees? What if I wanted for the air to be even more polluted than it is already now? You ask yourself those questions so you can achieve those goals. Okay, now, after you do that, this is when you can see those things that you do to get to those bad outcomes. Now you don't do those, you do opposite. Okay, so step 2, from ideas to solutions. Okay, this is where you start thinking about ways to turn those ideas into real solutions. And you're going to use these 2 techniques, the decision tree. First we start with the decision tree. And this is basically a way for you and the learners to sort through your ideas. You start at the top of the tree and you ask each question. You ask and answer each question one by one. And, the answer to each question is either a yes or a no. For example, does it exist already? Will it harm people? Will it harm the planet? Will it make a difference? And could it be possible? Okay, so let me go. Yes, this is an example of a decision tree.
Yes. Can I give an example of decision tree, please? Okay.
Yes.
So let's talk about farming, fish farming as an alternative to fishing, to curb overfishing. So this is an idea, and maybe I can try. Maybe because when you are speaking, I started thinking about it, and it's good. Okay, I like doing this, by the way. Fish farming, according to, is it Mr. Tito, Mr. Martin, or Philomena? One of them. I pick that. I ask myself. I'm asking my students. So they have brought many ideas to me. I ask them, does this exist? Is it an existing, is it original? That's what we used to be asking science fairs. Is it original? If yes, I try another one. Maybe in my fishing, I'll monitor seasons. So if it is not done basically based on seasons, like Mr. Tito would say, or I don't know, Philomena, I would say, does it harm people? My fish farming, does it harm people? No. So I move. Will it harm the planet over time? Fish farming, maybe building my aquatics? No. If it does, then I try another idea because that is not sustainable. Would it make a difference in the community? Indeed, that's my solution. So I can justify why I picked my idea. So you're actually asking students to justify their idea. This is more like a science fair, but science fair people focus on science and tech hackathons focus on technology. Here, we are asking students who are dancers, those people, you know, who are, some of my students tell me they just want to become a DJ. So they ask me, why are we even doing chemistry? I say, it's okay, just do it for general knowledge. You know, so we want to ensure the child, whoever child it is that is in my classroom, is able to capture the idea. So the process of decision tree in testing your ideas is one of the best. Mr. Jeff? Maybe another person would want to also give their idea. Take through this planting trees. Maybe someone can try that. Mr. Augustus, you are so quiet today. Captain has gone on all. I think it's on a call.
Yes,
Carol?
anyone else?
Caroline, do you want to try? Caroline Jue? Mr. Mateka? David? Caro? Yes.
Planting trees.
Yes. Yes, I could give a try.
Go ahead.
Maybe when it comes to planting trees, like it was said, we would encourage our learners to find out possible questions concerning the planting of trees. For example, if the trees affect people, no, they will not affect anyone. Will they cause any long-term issue? No.
Caro, stop there. Stop there.
Yes.
What if a child stands up and says, our land is so small, Miss Caro. It's too small that if we plant a tree, we'll be sleeping and leaves will be falling on our house. We will not be able to get good sleep. Is that not harming me? If a tree is planted next to my in our house, then I cannot even have a good place to play. So, you know, those kids, we need to allow them to explore and expose themselves as they do that. Please don't answer me. Just continue. Will it harm people? Will it harm the planet? Continue.
Okay. We could also have an alternative of planting a vegetation other than trees. Maybe if they brainstorm and say that the trees will be, the land is too small, we could ask them to plant things like grass to make sure that their land is in check, like in terms of soil erosion, and then so the issues of land being small will not be so much of an effect when it comes to the planting of the green vegetation like the grass. We could also ask them to plant things like edible vegetations like sukuma wiki, spinach, and they would see that is of much benefit and it will not be a congestion into their environment. Thank you.
Yes.
Awesome.
Can I?
Yeah.
Excuse me. Can I add something?
Yes, you can.
Hello.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm thinking of a situation whereby I could make the whole idea of planting trees very enjoyable and involving to the learners. One, I give them an assignment. Let them research on the different they know. And out of those species, each to select one. There are cypress, there is Groovelia, there are so many others, blue gum, or even if both mixed is the fruit, trees, and the timber and the rest. Then outsource, because one you have selected, give us a reason as to why you have selected that tree. You give us all the maybe botanical name. Each student will be allowed to learn to plant a tree of his choice, and then we label the trees to me. So each learner will be taking care of the tree he chose and planted. How about that?
Wow. 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 You've just brought Earthshot into your biology lesson and with botany and botanical names. Martin, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to look at what Philomena was saying, and besides the naming, doing the botanical names and the like, today I happened to pass near my primary school where I schooled, and with a friend I showed him a tree that I planted, and thinking about connecting it with what Philomena is saying about naming, and borrowing from something that I saw in Kenya from the Ministry of Tourism. There's this time they were naming the elephants against people's names.
Yes.
So if a tree is named Martin, even if I will be there the next 20, 40, 50 years. So any time I come around, I would want to see, yeah, this is now the tree planted by Martin when I was young. It is just another way of making it more exciting when the name tag is there. If there could be a permanent way of leaving the name tag there, I know it would be more interesting, besides even the botanical name.
Wow.
My way of
Wow. Well, I mean, you guys are already doing the project. Please stop doing the project. What we are doing is we are exploring the resources. We are looking at how can we test our ideas. But thank you, Martin, for that. I think I'm going to challenge Maurice and others whom I know, and Martin, like Mr. Kisao Katana, so that we can bring this in our classrooms, so that we can be effective. Jeff, we have done with decision tree. Maybe we can move to the next one. The time is not on our side. This is so exciting.
Okay. Ali had said that there are two ways in which there are two techniques in which you can take your ideas and see how they could be applied in the real world. The other one is you run them through a SWOT analysis. You identify the strengths. For example, what is good about this idea? Why do you like it? Will it be impactful? And weaknesses, what is bad about this idea? Do you have any worries? The opportunities and the threats. So maybe we can do one. We can do one SWOT analysis on one idea.
Maybe Martin can help us with. Martin can give us the idea about do a SWOT analysis of naming trees after someone's name. Just do a SWOT analysis: strength, weakness, opportunity, and threats. Mr. Martin, over to you, very quickly.
Yes, I had not really thought about it, but let me try. On the part of strength, I'm just being guided with whatever is on the screen. What is good about this idea is that this person will want to associate with that very plant, and they would want to see the plant not cut. You would want to give the protection that possible about the plant. For the part of the weakness, what is bad about the idea, whether we have any worries, I'm not thinking about something for now. Let me go.
I have an idea.
Yes.
Let me give you the weakness. The weakness is that when the tree dies, will you die? I'm worried about that. That's a worry.
Oh yes, yeah, it's a worry.
Okay, proceed now.
It's a worry.
And cut the
Editor,
Sorry?
say something. Yes, editor? Is it editor or it's?
Yeah, I'm seeing a weakness if a developer and decide to cut your tree.
Oh, they are cutting your life. They always do that.
Exactly. Now, the opportunity, can you think of exciting ways to make this idea happen? Not for now. I cannot think on my feet unless somebody else comes in.
Somebody else is Dominic Mwenduka.
Yes.
He is good. Dominic is very good at this. Dominic, what do you think about the opportunity when you're naming a tree after your name, Mr. Dominic Tree?
It's there.
Yes,
Opportunities,
Philomena.
remembrance.
Oh.
Yeah,
For memory
remembrance. You'll
purposes.
be remembered. I should have at least.
And Daisy has another point also. Daisy?
Oh, it's STEM as legacy. I hope I'm clear.
Yes, legacy there. Yeah, legacy, you know, you leave a legacy with your name. I'm thinking in high school, I should have planted a tree. Now I would be visiting that school to just go see that tree, not the students, not to motivate the way we pretend we want to go and motivate the students. I would just be going to see my tree, by the way. Thank you. That's an opportunity.
Yeah,
And
I have
the
an
rest?
idea.
Oh, yes, Jeff, please proceed.
Yeah, you can use it to raise money. Like, for example, people pay to have their names on a tree. It is,
Who
for
are you,
example, like
man?
at a park. And then
That's so good.
Yes, then those funds can be used to maintain it, or to maintain these efforts, to sustain these efforts.
Guys,
That's a super one. I like it.
I think we are missing an opportunity. That's the opportunity now. Yeah.
And I think I'm also blank on threats.
Yeah, you are blank
Yeah.
on so many things.
Mr. Blank.
What
I
are
think-
threats, guys?
Yeah, I think it doesn't have threats. So that means it's a good idea.
Hey.
Yeah, sure. It really is.
Wow. By the
So-
way, we should focus. Someone is saying something? Yes, Daisy, you are saying something.
Hello, Felix.
Yes, Amos. Daisy, just a minute.
Yes,
Amos,
I've been a bit quiet, but that one has really impressed me about naming trees, and I want to relate it to, let's say, when some of our leaders visit institutions and they plant a tree, and once that tree has been planted, no matter how big the tree grows, no one will ever dare cut that tree. Like, let's say, a tree that has been planted by the president or named after the president. However big that tree will grow, it will never be cut. So that is so interesting, and it's actually a way of protecting that tree and eventually protects our environment. It's wonderful.
The next time someone is delocalized to another region, from eastern to northeastern to western, you should come back to that school. Otherwise, if someone cuts your tree, that's a threat. Thank you, Amos. Daisy, back to you. Daisy.
Oh, the threats, I think I was just trying to think around the issue of legislation. I don't know if it's something that can happen without maybe directives from above, because I'm thinking there's certain designated places where you can't plant trees. So like if you live next to the state house, there's a rule whereby you can't cut trees around those sides, and you also can't plant trees of a certain around that area. Okay, I'm just trying to think outside the box. I'm losing my train of thought.
Thank you very much, Daisy. Legalization. Yes, someone else has another point.
Yes, on the
Yes.
threat on planting trees, if we
Yes,
plant
Rachel.
trees, possibly we may lack areas where we can do other maybe economic activities. So if we plant so many trees, then we lack space, land for other economic trees. Possibly, to me, that one I can take as a threat to planting trees.
Okay, so that is on planting trees, but not naming trees. Thank you very much, Rachel. In fact, there is a very thin line between economic use and environmental conservation. That's why the sustainability concerns are around those things, and where we live also, where we sleep. So thank you very much for that point. Mr. Jeff, back to you.
Okay. Yes. Coming back to the last point, I think that's a good idea because land is a valuable and a scarce resource. So when you're choosing to plant trees, it means that you're not planting something else, maybe like food. But it's a balance that we have to reach. Okay, so moving on. the solution. So when you've chosen an idea, first of all, when you use these two techniques, you're bound to come up with a good idea. So then now when you've chosen an idea, it's time to write your solution summary. You remind the students that this solution is a result of their brilliant and creative ideas. And so when they write the solution summary, they should be able to explain to someone who doesn't know about it, and then that person to understand clearly. Okay. So the problem statement should be, what is your problem statement? What is your solution? What effect will it have? Like, for example, if your solution is or for example, if your problem is to reduce air pollution, then for example, the solution to be to reduce the amount of traffic in an area, ask yourself, what effect will this have? First of all, it will reduce some of the pollution, but what other effects will this have? So it should be something like that. So yes, the solution stage. Okay, so in order to solve complex problems, different people have different roles to play. And in this section, the students will take on different roles, like, for example, the role of a scientist, an inventor, an entrepreneur, an artist, or a journalist. So it will be up to the teacher to decide which role to give to the students. This will also be influenced by the subject. For example, if it's like science, for example, or a language class. Okay, so first you pick one of the roles below. For example, a scientist whose role is to prove something. Scientists, they research the facts, they test and they experiment, then they use the evidence. An inventor whose job is to design, and they solve problems by finding new ways to do things. And entrepreneurs, and then they solve problems by spotting good ideas and persuading other people to support them and to make them a reality. And artists, they're expressors, they express it. They are able to perform and they're able, oh, no one is speaking. So they're able to express those ideas and to inspire and influence other people to those ideas. And then journalists, they tell us what is happening in the world. They share the news. They share what is happening in the world.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you very much, Jeff, for that. Before you go to the next slide, I think you're going to explain more about scientists and other things. Maybe go back to that slide again. Maybe I can say something. This is where you ask me, or you ask yourself, how many students do I want in my teams, in my discussion groups? Because you're going to have them to start by picking an Earthshot, one of the areas. Then they are going to identify from those Earthshots, because by this is what was people were winning on Sunday. They were getting 1 million for, the team that gets the best idea, 1 million GBP. So they were doing that for organizations. But for our students, we want to actually be able to award them. So we want to group them in groups, because this is 21st century, and 21st century requires us to, build capacity in terms of collaboration. Now, when I was training teachers on Microsoft Office 365, I brought a Nigerian who talked about 21st century learning design. And she said, she's called Dr. Kemi. She's talked about collaboration. Collaboration requires not students to sit together and work in groups. You teachers know that. Not just sitting together like we used to do in university and say degree ni arambe. No, it is a way of identifying Mutua will do this, Hassan will do this, Ogaga will do this, Augustus will do this, and this other one will do this. Now, when it comes to scientists, you have one person who is very good in trying to test things and presenting facts. I find Mr. Ogaga being very good at that. Let me pick you, Mr. Ogaga. The people from the other side, the left side, are very good with facts. It's a fact. I'm not arguing about that. Then I come to an inventor. Maybe, by the way, I'm not trying to stereotype people, but inventor, it's another person who is a computer guy, a designer, someone who sit down there, draw that thing, that tree with a name, and draw that thing on a computer. Maybe they are going to be doing that. Maybe they are going to design it on a paper. Then there is this guy who is an entrepreneur. You know where he comes from. I'm not talking about him, but or her. You know, she or he will be able to spot a very good idea in the idea that you're talking about, and you'll hear him bringing in and coming in the discussions. You know, as you facilitate the discussion, you'll hear him coming back and forth. You know, and he will be the person who picks that idea and pitches it. You know, they must know how to speak about that idea with clarity. Then another one is an artist, someone who can actually do some somersault, or another one can do some good painting to express the idea the way the pitcher, the entrepreneur, has pitched it to them, into the group. Then you can actually show, you can order A3 paper or A4 and show what your idea is.
They can even like write a song.
They can even do a song, because this is visual storytelling and creative storytelling. They can actually tell us what exactly it is. They can do, you know, poems. You know, the teachers of English, you're asking me, where will my students be? There you go. The students who do, you know, music, they can actually compose, you know, play, or they can do choreography for dancing. You know, all these things are there for us. They could be a composition, a writing, an article, a blog, a vlog with a video, maybe done on Flipgrid and other platforms. You can actually get your students to do this. They can actually, by the way, those people tell me about computers. This is not about computer. This is not about technology. It's about innovation and creativity. So then you can actually record students with your phone. You can give them your phone to use sound recorder, and they can record their statement. That's the artist. Finally, the journalist stands on. Maybe all of you are journalists. They are going to just speak about the idea. But even two or one, depending on what it is. Of course, saying, according to survey on this, we realize this. So that's where humanity is coming, and mathematics and geography and English, now articulation. And so you students actually work together in that group, whether it is about planting a tree with a name, or it is just planting a tree, or even not planting a tree at all, whatever it is, the students can work in groups of 4, 5, and 6. Then they can come up with something. Of course, they can never be greater than 6, because you know what some of the teachers in university told us, like Tom Lamwamba and others. All right. Thank you, Mr. Jeff. I just got excited about that.
Okay, so yes, just as Mr. Felix has said, yeah, the students can take one of these roles, then they can use what one of these roles do, the skills for one of these roles to try and come up with this, how they can contribute to Generation Earthshot. So for example, in scientists, an activity they can do, they can come up with, they can gather evidence to prove whether or not the solution will work. And to do this, they'll need to write down their hypothesis, which is how the solution will work, the evidence, which is what information proves that it can work, and research, and which is how they will find the information. And then they use a worksheet. The worksheet will be sent. So they use a worksheet, which is where they can record. And in the research stage, the students will decide whether to use information that already exists or to make an experiment of their own. So guiding questions. How could you test whether your solution will work? How will you know if it was making a difference? What data will you need? How could you collect it? And will you need to make any calculations? So inventor So the students are inventors, and inventors solve problems by finding new ways to do things. They're designers, they're makers. So the learning objective for them will be to understand how to plan, how to test, and how to improve a solution. So the activity for these students will be they create a storyboard or to draw a cartoon strip showing how the solution will work in the real world. Then they can use the inventor worksheet for this activity. Sorry, any question?
No, keep going.
Okay. So each square in the worksheet should be a new step in the process. It should be showing what happens before, during, and after the solution has been put into practice. And this will help the students to break down what is needed and to find any unexpected issues. And if they find issues, they find new ways to do it, which is what inventing is all about. So the guiding questions for them will be like, for example, how will your solution work in the real world? Will you draw a design or build a model? What materials or will your solution need? And what do you need in order for you to conduct a test? And are there any unexpected problems? Okay, so for artists, so the students are artists, and artists, they take ideas, they share them with the world in beautiful ways. It can be, for example, poetry, for example, in music, for example, in dance choreography. So artists, they are performers and they are just creatives of all kinds. It can even be in art. You know, students of these days, they do art nowadays. So learning objective for them to understand how to express a solution and to share it with others through art. So getting questions for the artists, how could you get the attention of the public for this idea? How can you get the attention for the public for this idea? Where will you put it? How can you make them care? How can you tell a story? How can you explain the impact? So yeah, those would be the guiding questions for the artists. So they can make a big poster to bring the solution to life. Then they can display the posters around the classroom or around the school, just anywhere in the community. They can make a song or a dramatic performance, persuading others why their solution is needed. Or they can put on an exhibition to share the solution with others through art. Maybe, for example, one of these days, these festivals, these music festivals and drama festivals, one of these days, they should make the theme to be about climate change and the solutions for it. Journalists. So the students are journalists. They tell us what is happening in the world. They are a sharer of the news. The learning objectives for them will be to understand how to communicate in a factual way in order to give the audience all the information they need. So an activity for this journalist will be to imagine that the year is 2030 and that the solution that they came up with, it has become a reality. Then they should imagine that they're writing a report for the national newspaper on the front page. You should fill in the blanks on the journalist worksheet or ask students to design their own front page of this future news story of the solution being put into place, being put into action. So make sure they have a headline, a summary, and a longer description and an image. So yeah, so discussion questions for them. How will you report on this idea? Who is your audience? What are the key facts about the idea that they need to know? And can you summarize it in a few sentences? And what other information might they need to know? For example, the question like, who is your audience? This would be very crucial because it can be like the audience, maybe it's a bunch of scientists, it's for the national newspaper. So for those two, it will be very different how it will be written. Okay, so ideas. Make a TV news report on video with interviews and discussion about the solution. And also write a detailed case study explaining why the problem you're tackling is important. Or write a blog, an opinion blog, persuading others of why you think this solution is important. So yeah, when they're finished, once the students are finished, you can submit, you can take pictures and stuff, and then submit through the Generation Earthshot website in order for the students to receive certificates and a letter of appreciation from the Praise Council. You can also share them with the world on social media using the hashtag Generation Earthshot, and then follow the Earthshot Prize social media channels. So yes, any question, Mr. Felix?
A question. You want a question from me? How will I do all that thing and I already have a syllabus to cover? Can I answer my question? Can I answer my question, Jeff?
Yeah, yes.
You don't have to do it. It's up to you.
What?
You can choose not to do it anyway, because all this is just information. It's just information that has been structured for us as teachers. I teach mathematics and computer science, and for me, my syllabus is back to back. But what I normally see is an opportunity to engage my students and have them participate in these things. Why do I do this while I don't have a lot of time? It's about planning. So I have a syllabus that have been sent by TSC, the way we keep asking from the MIE community. And then from there, what I use my time well, such that I can engage students, not once, not twice, but to engage them in 3 or 4 lessons with this. And it can be just an append of my lesson. It's just an addition I do on my project, in my classroom. Again, I also engage specific students who seem interested once I pitch the idea to the children. And if they want to do it, even break times when we are on duty at the field, we are talking about our idea and seeing how we're going to make it. If it's a school project, some days I'm given a day to talk about something in the school assembly. I talk about it, and the students who come to me, I even give a registration form. If they register, then we can do it as a club, or we can do it at our own times. When I'm working with the students who are in boarding, sometimes we spend some time with 5 students in the boarding, and I'm trying to see if these students can come up with something. Time has never been a concern. It's up to me. It's just up to me what I want to do. So to answer my own question is to say, you don't have to think too much. You don't have to spend so much time. This content is supposed to help you. It's not supposed to do what it's saying in every detail. It is just, you know how to use decision tree, you know how to use SWOT analysis for ideas. Let students be guided, because you are a facilitator here, you're not doing it the project. Then one day, the students are able to submit their project and they can be recognized by Prince William and the awarding organization. You never know, your school can become one of the schools that have been financed. After all, our ministry was financed, and such like things. More importantly, the students also get certificates, and they can use these certificates in universities and other platforms when it comes to opportunities that are going to be coming. You know very well universities are going to be looking at your initiative. What did you do when you were in school? So if your teacher never gave you an opportunity to do anything in school, then the child cannot be as creative as you would think. They have to be guided. No wonder we are called facilitators. Thank you very much. I don't know if there is another question. The time is so bad. Another question? Daisy, do you want to say something?
I don't have any questions, just to reiterate what you said and to say that the way forward is that we will be sharing resources that the teachers are then able to share with the learners and kickstart the training. We'll avail the link for this time, but then we'll also share that on WhatsApp. And yeah, I think that's it for me in the interest of time.
Okay, so we will be again sharing all these slides, the training. We'll be giving you those decision trees. There are some worksheets that can help you in your activities, so you can give the students to just go through them. And then in case that is you are trying to guide them like a decision tree, you can actually print that and give them to them. Or maybe you can just draw that in the classroom, whatever it is that is possible. We are going to share all this. There is even very many ideas. Even the artwork, there is a way you can actually draw, then take a photo and send that. We'll be guiding you on that, and we'll guide you on submission so that we can be able to do this. This project starts from the time you are trained all the way to February. Thank you. If there is another question, then we might need to take a photo. Any questions, Editor, Amos, Carol, Martin, Philomena? No question.
Yes. We have been trained.
Yes.
And the training is for that period. Do you have a certificate of training, or that is that?
We will give you a certificate of training. That one will give you, each and every one of you who has attended, we will give you a certificate of training. So keep at it. Daisy is working on that. She's the project manager of this project. As guys, we just make noise with Jeff.
Not noise, constructive noise.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so Jeff, if anybody want to, another question, a statement? Okay, then with that, I'm going to ask Jeff to stop sharing, and then we can all come together on the camera. Daisy is the only one who is going to miss this because our camera is not working, but then we can take a photo, all of us together. Thank you. Okay. While we are taking our cameras on, Mr. can give a vote of thanks to our trainer today, Mr. Jeff.
So yeah, thank you all for coming, and I hope you all learned something from this, and that your time here you felt that your time here was well spent. So thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Mr. Lawrence, is it a good time?
Yeah.
We are trying to take a photo.
Yes, it's a good time. Thank you, Jeff, for the training, and Mr. Felix also for assisting. Sorry, at some point I had to leave for another meeting and there was some small inconvenience. Apologies for that, but good to see all of your faces.
Okay. Teachers, thank you very much once again. Amos, Augustus, Rose, and all of you for turning in for this training. We're going to now take a photo. I'm not good at this because my camera is not always good. I'm going to ask Augustus to take a photo, Joel to take a photo, Martin to take a photo, everyone to take a photo. And how do you take a photo? You press Control and print, or you can take with your phone when we are ready. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, and all of us are going to take a photo.
Yes, minus
Control.
me.
It's okay. We wanted to take a photo with you, but it's okay. So at the count of 3.
No.
Your camera is not working or something. It's okay. Even the trainer is not here.
Yes.
It's okay. It's all
My
right.
camera
So
is
let's
not
do a
working.
photo. Okay, then. Carol, please take a photo. So control, print screen. So 3, 2, 2 smiles. 3, 2, go. Generation Earthshot 2021.